Welcome to Please Me, the award-winning bilingual sexuality podcast bringing you bold conversations and big clit energy. As a female host in a male-dominated industry, I'm thrilled to announce that Please Me is the #1 ranked sexuality podcast in the USA and worldwide, covering topics on sexual health, intimacy, and sexual empowerment. I'm Eve, your host, on a journey from trauma to sexual liberation. Join me and my guests as we dive into conversations around orgasm equality, self-love, body positivity, and essential sex education. Let's reclaim pleasure and close the orgasm gap, one empowering conversation at a time. Last week, I introduced the Sexual Longevity Protocol, the private client blueprint for lifelong sexual pleasure, and how men and women can prevent common sexual health issues like erectile dysfunction, vaginal dryness, low libido, and decreased sensitivity through a 3-module self-paced course designed for long-term sexual wellness. I also shared the 30-day self-pleasure and body reconnection practices, a free daily journal available at pleaseme.online to help you reconnect with your body, increase sensitivity, and explore pleasure, one simple practice at a time. If you haven't started yet, this is your reminder to go download it today. Today, I'm excited to welcome Genevieve Lejeune, founder of Skirt Club, the only global membership club dedicated to bisexual women. If you're bi-curious, bisexual, or exploring your sexual identity, this episode is for you. Tune in to hear what inspired Genevieve to create this exclusive upscale space for women to safely explore desire, connection, and community. Want to ask a question for the Please Me podcast? Join the conversation on Patreon or subscribe to my Substack newsletter for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes updates, and a chance to have your questions featured on the show. You can also join the Please Me Health Collective on SDC.com, the world's premier ethically non-monogamous platform for swingers, poly folks, and more. Use code 37340 for a free trial membership and access to my growing community, including free monthly webinars. Please also follow me on Instagram at Please Me by Eve Creations. Please Me is for mature audiences, so sit back, relax, and surrender to the pleasure of Please Me. Ladies, let's get personal for a minute. What does your vaginal health routine look like? Because as we mature, our intimate self-care needs an upgrade. If hormone shifts have you feeling dry, less sensitive, or just not quite like yourself, I've got a simple 3-step protocol I'm loving. Every morning I use my lady pump to increase blood flow and wake up the lady bits. And yes, it comes with 3 attachments for all the sensations. Then I apply Shamelessly Aroused by Shameless Care, formulated with sildenafil, the active ingredient used in Viagra, to support stronger arousal, better lubrication, and more responsive orgasms. Pair that with a daily self-love ritual, and you've got a powerful daytime combo. At night, I use Parlogame's estrogen and progesterone creams to support healthy hormone levels and resilient vaginal tissue. Fewer oops moments when I sneeze, and way more confidence when intimacy calls. Dryness, decreased sensitivity, frequent UTIs, incontinence, low blood flow? These 3 upgrades can be a total game changer because intimate health isn't indulgent. It's essential. And trust me, you'll feel the difference. Hello, and welcome to Please Me, the podcast that aims to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health by turning the sheets into our classroom. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Genevieve Lejeune to the show. She is the founder of Skirt Club, which I am a member of, and she is basically the Skirt Club is a club, a membership club, where only women can join, bisexual women. And she realized that her focus when she was in a long-term relationship was centered on doing things for the pleasure of her partner, her male partner, and not her own. And so she saw a real problem in this situation. And so she decided to start Skirt Club. And I'm so glad that she did. Because of her club, I'm actually in connection with a lot of wonderful women here in South Florida. And I want to welcome you to Please Me. How are you today, Genevieve?
Hello, Eve. Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate your introduction there. And I love that you're one of our members here in South Florida. I'm also based here in Miami, so it's nice to have you up the road.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because I thought you were in London this whole time, but you've been in Miami for 10 years. I had no idea. So we definitely have to meet in person one of these days. It would be really fun to have coffee and just connect.
That'd be lovely too. Yeah, well, as you know, our events are all over the world, not just Miami, right? So
Right.
we are in 36 cities. And yeah, we went from being just three girls at my flat in London, having a bit of a party, to now 27,000 women as members all over the world. It's become quite the movement. What was just once women exploring themselves has now turned into a huge network of bi-curious and bisexual women who are just exploring, questioning, or maybe taking it a little further and having a relationship with a woman as well. So it's the full spectrum of relationship status, from first kiss to first romance, and we nothing gives me more pleasure than to put smiles on faces of women.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And, when you discover that you have, a propensity to women and being attracted to women, it's like, okay, well, you're starting from like ground zero. You almost feel like a baby. You don't know sort of how, at least I'm speaking from my own personal experience, like where do you start? Where do you meet women that may also be bisexual or lesbian, right? And so it's not that easy. And so I would love for you to like tell us more about what Skirt Club does. You mentioned events, so you do lots of events around the world. And what other sorts of things are offered in Skirt Club?
Right. Well, we're known for our events. We host over about 400 a year, so quite a lot. And they range from everything from a social, a workshop, to a mini skirt or a skirt club signature party, which would be a play party. And you can meet women just for conversation, all the way to exploring your first time, enjoying pleasure and sex with a woman as well. So it really is the full range of events. We also do online talks and workshops too. And more recently, we have a Sunday session where we invite experts to come and give a 1 hour workshop. So that's been quite popular as well. Events are what we're known for. The reality, of course, is that the network itself speaks volumes. Just being able to get online and meet somebody, maybe the other side of the world or just down the road, and have a connection, because being understood, and being seen is what's really important to women. And I think it takes one to know one, especially in this world of bi curiosities and bisexuality.
Yes. And you mentioned that you do some education on the site too. And I have done two webinars for Skirt Club, which was an honor. Actually, looking through my computer yesterday, and I saw the flyer for one of them, and it was called The Anatomy of Big Clit Energy, which is the confidence that we have in the bedroom, right? And that translates to all areas of our life. And so I was honored to be asked to do that workshop, and I'd love to collaborate more in the future. Um, but I know that you have a special event coming up this summer, a retreat. And when I saw the email for that particular retreat, I was like, oh my gosh, it's my birthday month. And
Oh,
it sounds so incredible. I want to go. Let's have you on the show. Let's talk about it. I want to hear all about this incredible event that you're hosting.
oh well, it really is my pleasure to announce this with you, because we are turning a corner at Skirt Club. For gosh, 12 years now, we have been hosting sort of sexy or sexual oriented events. And it's been a lot of fun. But I have noticed something. Women, they love to connect, right? So we love the connection part of things. But there was something left that wasn't quite discovered, and that was the connection to herself. I was noticing that women were, wanting to learn more about each other, but ultimately learning about her and her own pleasure and her own body was where it was at. And I do think there's been a bit of a journey here for women. We've come from, I mean, talking like 15 years ago, not long at all, women afraid to even say the word sex or admit that they enjoy pleasure or even actually enjoy it, because we were taught sex was a thing for men. It was our duty to perform it, at least in England, where I come from. That's what my mother told me. And, it was just a chore, basically, for his pleasure. And I'm not surprised it wasn't fun. I'm sure it lasted all of 3 hot minutes. In that with that attitude, right? Because if you're not asking to be pleasured, then he's not going to deliver it. So we've come out of the dark ages. I feel women have woken up, and it's been my pleasure to wake them up. That was my entire objective the entire time, right? Skirt Club's never been about sex for me. It's been about waking her up into her own pleasure. And that takes focusing and listening to your body and what it's telling you. Another reason why we don't allow men at our events, because I find that women end up performing for them. And them just being in the room makes them behave very differently. So we've had quite the social experiment. More recently, I hosted a retreat in Austin in October last year, and it was something we'd never done before. It was again about sexual energy, but as a life force. And it's key to remember here that sexual energy is the most potent energy your body will feel. You can move mountains with that energy. And look, I built a company and a global community on that energy. Sexual energy is your life force, and it must be cultivated. You need that life force energy at all times, because women, we can achieve so much more on that. Keep in mind here, my overall goal is to bring peace and balance to the planet, and humanity. And for that, I need women to step up and to become leaders. So behind the scenes here, I'm bringing ways in which to help women sustain their own energy. And it doesn't have to be through sex. So this is the interesting thing. We learned on this retreat that through many different types of embodied exercises, that could be breath work, yoga, kundalini, all these types of workshops that we ran through the long weekend taught her how to wake up in a more embodied way. And I found a lot of women were very in their head, and they hadn't dropped into their bodies, especially women at Skirt Club, who a lot of them are working in a professional capacity. They're working in corporate life. And that's very commendable, but at the same time, it makes you live up here because you're constantly thinking. We're asking you to come down and into your body and turn this off. So we teach you lots of exercises on how to do that. And a lot of that is cultivating the sexual energy. So I guess there is an overlap here. What we found was they shifted, and there were tears. There were personal moments. There were many women who we held through their tears because they were feeling things they hadn't felt before, but also they were pushing through some stuck energy. When you don't embody your energy often, it becomes like a foreign feeling to you. You forget how to do it. We're born with that ability, but in this modern day, we're very much stuck in our heads and thinking and overthinking. So there was a lot of shifting over the week, and then of course we had our Saturday night temple party, which was more of a sensual event than a sexual event, honestly. But the culmination of all of this, I think, just left them buzzing high on life. Zero alcohol. They went home, I think, able to tackle the world with a new lease of energy. And it's this embodiment practice that I'm now very much a big fan of. And it's based very much on tantric practices, moving energy through the body, directing energy through the body, channeling energy through the body. It's time for women to really take ownership. Really want to drive it home. This, I think, will be the final frontier for them to finally take the reins and remember who they are. Because there's one fact that remains in all of this, is that life begins and ends with women. And the sooner we remember that, the sooner we remember our power.
I
And that's
love
why I'm
that.
doing, yeah, that's why I'm doing all
I
these
love
retreats
that.
this year.
Yes, I love all the retreats, and I love your mission, because you're absolutely right. In the world that we are living in today, we need much more feminine leadership. because women do make the world a better place. We are just more compassionate. We want to help people. We're more communal. And so we need women leaders more than ever right now. So I love that that is your mission. And absolutely being embodied is so essential to enjoy your sex life, right? If your mind is thinking about the to-do list or, the drop off from the school or whatever the things that you need to pick up from the grocery store, you are not going to be embodied and able to enjoy your pleasure. And so learning those embodiment practices is so essential to really truly enjoy your pleasure and your sex life. So I commend you for that because we are very much on similar missions, to help women specifically to really connect with their selves, to have that self-love, to have that body positivity, right? That a lot of times not all women have because of the societal norms and the patriarchal norms that are constantly being bombarded. The messaging is constantly bombarding us, and so we need to step into our feminine power, and there is power there. And so I love that you talk about tantra, and the sacral chakra is the creative space in our body. And so connecting to that creative space is so essential to really fully embody your true essence as a woman. So I love this mission so much. And I want to talk a little bit about the population of Skirt Club members because I understand that it is a lot of women that are in relationships with a man, right, or even married to a man, right, and I would love to know how that sort of plays out in relationships, and why it's so essential to have women only parties, because of the influence of the man in these women's lives, right?
Yeah, and this is just so key to helping women get out of their patterns that we've learned as young girls, patterns that we are completely unaware of half the time. If in a room full of women, I just need to put one man in the corner, and they know he's there. It doesn't matter if he's wearing a dress, and trust me, I've had so many offers from men, at least 1,000 emails. I think I've actually kept them because I'm so intrigued by all the ways men will try to get themselves into a skirt club party. It always bemuses me. But one of my favorite suggestions was that they would just wear a dress and stand in the corner of the room and nobody would notice them. Like they all sense you're there immediately and they'll start behaving very differently. They'll become more like rivals than they will be friends. Um, and I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get away from women pitching themselves against each other. And trying to get away from women, and all the things that they've learned growing up to survive, which is, it's keep your man, serve your man, provide for your man. This rhetoric, it's done. Like it belongs in the 90s. It can stay there. We are in a new era now. And so, this whole, I'm sorry, guys, you have to learn that there are places and spaces for women only. You've had gentlemen's clubs for centuries.
Right. So
I don't know
true.
why you're complaining. But the backlash at the very beginning when I started Skirt Club from men was just like, what? If you're bisexual, why would you not want men in the room? Because unfortunately, women then center you, and I'm trying to get them to stop doing that.
And to
Um,
center themselves.
right, right. Finally. But like I say, as young women, we grew up in a society that taught us this was how you survived. Women didn't have access to the same financial resources as men, so you needed a man. If you wanted to have a family, you needed a man, not just for him to procreate with, but to provide financially and for the safety of that family. So look, it's clear how this all came about. But I think the value women bring to the world has been severely underrated for too long. Mm.
I agree 100%. And I want to talk about a misconception, right? That a lot of people have when you tell them that you're bisexual, right? Particularly a man. Okay. And I think that like light bulbs go off in their head when you say that you're bisexual. They're like, oh, yeah,
Oh,
I found a good one,
threesomes.
right? Yeah. Tell me what you've seen because you have a wealth of information in this arena with the men who find out that their girl, their the woman that they're in a relationship with is bisexual and what they want and what the woman wants, right? Because a lot of times it's completely the opposite.
Yeah, and I can tell you now, my ex-husband did not think, found out that that wasn't such a silver lining when he married me. But you know, right when I first embarked on this, I was dating somebody who's very, very, very encouraging of me exploring my bisexuality. And that was at contrast to the previous boyfriends who were very threatened by it. So I was pretty much late to the game. You know, even though I'd had my first kiss at 22, I didn't really explore anything until about 34, really because I didn't have the right partner. And so you know, I embarked on this and he was just like, you know, beyond himself with excitement for all the threesomes he was about to have. Um, and it dawned on me that suddenly that this was why. Like, so I
It
had
was
to
all
break the
about him,
news.
right?
Oh, kill surprise. So I had to break the news, and unfortunately, I wanted to explore this on my own, because I didn't know how I felt yet. I wanted to find out. And I wanted to find out on my own terms, without him. So you know, I'd meet women and they'd come over to my apartment where I lived with him, and he'd have to go sit in the spare room with the door closed and wait and listen. I mean, like torture. So, I mean, it was funny. I used to get such a kick out of that as well. So yeah, look, that's how it all began, and I think a lot of women who are bi are just assumed that they are also sex toys, and at the disposal of men's desires to have sex with two women at the same time. Um, which for them I think inflates their ego to a point where they obviously think they're invincible. It is I don't think they've really clocked it. It actually is a lot more work to pleasure and please two women at the same time. One is already enough. Yet so many men want to have this fantasy. So I really relish watching that go down because I think no man has ever thought it through. They just get this the pupils just go black and they just see sex. It's a real weakness for men. I'm so glad women don't have that Achilles heel. Mm.
Yes, I definitely think that, the fantasy of a threesome with, a man and two women is so widespread. I don't know too many men who don't have that fantasy. And so when you mention that you're bisexual, suddenly they think that you're going to be bringing them all of these women so that they can have sex with, right? And that is not why you're bisexual, right? You're bisexual because you are also attracted to women as you are to men, and you want to have relationships or experiences with women outside of the relationships that you have with men. And I think that that really is a shock to them. They actually think that you are there to provide more women for them. And I find that to be so frustrating and a very annoying conversation. I think that that is something that has come up for me too. And, I say, I don't know too many men who can actually pleasure two women. Okay. It takes a lot of work to pleasure one, right? Not a lot of men can last long enough, can really, and has the skills to pleasure two women, right? And if it's just about sitting in the corner and watching, that's a different story, right? But
Mm.
if you actually want to be in a threesome with two women, you have to really consider that you are now in a position where you have to pleasure two women well. Otherwise, they will never come back around, right? And so, anytime that comes up, I often will say, well, I think it would be better if it was the other way around, right? What if we did a threesome but with two men? Because a woman, can last much longer and can tolerate much more sex and can probably, have more pleasure if there were two men involved as opposed to one man and another woman, right? And oftentimes that just shuts them down.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, that's not what I was thinking about, well.
Bless them. Um, yeah, these days I see men more as excited little puppies. I've decided to just give them that persona, versus the one I had growing up, which was a bit like angry bear. It's definitely helped me, and my relationship with men, which, it hasn't always been great, and I think a lot of women, they all go through something, as young women especially, where they've been in a situation they didn't expect, that it was forced on them, and talking to my members, I hear a lot of this, I hear a lot about sexual assault, abuse, because it's just really common. It's just everywhere. No matter which country I'm hosting an event in, it doesn't matter the culture. It's just prevalent everywhere, and there's no surprise that women seek safety with other women. They don't feel threatened, and there's a big question whether, sometimes I wonder, is it bisexuality? Is it just seeking safety? Because a woman will never orgasm unless she feels safe. An all-female environment is safe. So, the equation is demonstrating to me that women are seeking safety mostly, and they find that first with women. So, yeah, in some ways, men have caused a lot of damage, and there's no surprise that women will retreat away from them when they feel scared. So, yeah, here we are.
I love that you
um,
bring this up. I love that you bring this up with sexual abuse and trauma. I come from a history of abuse myself, and you're absolutely right. If you're not feeling safe in your body, you are not going to be able to fully enjoy pleasure. Your nervous system has to be online and ready for pleasure. And if your nervous system is on high alert because you're not feeling safe, you're not going to be able to fully relax into your body and enjoy the pleasure that you deserve, right? And so, absolutely, when you're in a room filled with women, it's a different situation than if you're in a club filled with men, right? You're always having to look behind you. Did someone just try and grab my butt? I can't even tell you how many times that's happened to me over the years, and just being assaulted while you're out at a club or at a bar, and so absolutely, feeling safe is so essential, and building boundaries around your parties, I think, is essential. And I think that that's one thing that Skirt Club does really well, is having some rules, regulations, boundaries, right? You're teaching women how to play with each other in a way that is safe, so that everyone feels included and safe. You want to just talk a little bit about the boundaries that you speak to, during the parties, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we're very particular about talking around consent at the very start of the event, so that women understand that it's okay to say no. This is what I'm teaching. A woman who can say no has all her power, but a woman who knows her yes is equally powerful, right? So it's a fine balance. You've got women who need to exercise no, so we literally teach that exercise first. So we're going to let her down gently, and we're going to all practice, softly saying no thank you. Now you've said it, you'll know how to do it next time. It won't be caught in your mouth. A lot of women get stuck here, they can't get their words out, and that's fear. So we get through that boundary, and then I ask them to lean into what feels good in their body, because the other dynamic we have is that, women aren't used to making the first move. They're used to men making the move on them. So now we're in an environment where I'm asking you, to make a move on somebody, and that just terrifies them because they've never done it before and they don't know how to. So we teach them body language, which women are just naturally good at anyway, but able to, and a way to ask, may I kiss you? Which is a beautiful consensual way of asking a woman if she would like to lean into something more with you. And then for her to respond first. and respond authentically. Say yes because you want to, not yes because you want to please her. You know, there's another issue that women face a lot. You know, pleasing is something we do too easily. So there are lots of lessons in our consent talk that are specific to women, but mostly have fun. You know, it's you're there to have pleasure, right? And you need to listen to what's going to be pleasurable for your body. Your body will tell you whether it's a yes or a no. Hopefully, a full yes.
Yes, but being in touch with and listening to your body is something that a lot of women need to learn and hone, right? It's a skill just like anything else, and it needs to be developed. And so over time, each time you're experiencing something like that, a place where you have to set boundaries and offer your consent, each time you do it, it becomes easier and easier, just like the conversation around sex and around boundaries and around, you know, testing and around sharing your information. I mean, there's so many different things. And a lot of times we're not having these conversations and we're being put in situations where we're feeling coerced, right? And so I love that you lead with that in your meetings or in your events, because safety is the number one most important thing for our bodies to really get online and feel the pleasure that we deserve.
Yeah. Oh, autonomy. Oh, fancy that. Teaching women autonomy over their own bodies. Yeah, I just don't know how we got this far without without that being just a basic right.
Because it hasn't been a basic right? I mean, in the law, up until not too long ago, we were actually considered property of our husbands, right? And maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago, 70% of the population in the United States was married, and now it's only in the 40s. And so there's a big shift for women to be much more independent. But what does that truly mean, right? What does it truly mean to be independent and to be sovereign, right? And so I would love to hear you speak on sovereignty, because I feel like that is so essential for women to own, and whether they're in a relationship or not, and especially if they're in a relationship, because a lot of times we feel like we have to, like you said, pleasure our partners or be there for them without thinking about ourselves first, right? And so I'd love to hear your take on sovereignty and how you help women to really get that skill going.
Yeah, and it's not just about being financially independent either. You know, we can earn our own money, but that doesn't mean we have sovereignty. It helps, but and this is where I ask women to put their happiness first. And until recently, that was also known as being selfish, right? So we had to undo that pattern as well of making myself happy means I'm selfish. No, it doesn't. It means that you're filling your cup, which means your cup is full, and therefore you can um, serve others more effectively, but from a place where you are fully resourced. And as women, we have so many people dependent on our energy, whether it's our children, our friends, our family, our husband, our male partner. We are always giving, and we love to give. Like, it's just, we enjoy it, right? But we give so much to the point that we are left completely just less than empty, completely unresourced. And that's where, there's resentment builds or unhappiness. Um, and I see so many women just live in that place. They live in a place of just like completely empty. Um, and then they just get used to it. And then they just expect that and nothing more. And that's when I see somebody really break. Um, so I do see Skirt Club as one of those ways in which to fill your cup. It brings happiness, the whole getting ready, dressing up, what to wear, buying a ticket for yourself with your own money. I think that's really part of it. Coming to a party to meet new friends. And having a really extravagant time, because and our events are always steeped in luxury, which I think is essential for women's well-being. and and yet just learning how it's not greedy, but actually gracious and very sensible to enjoy and fill your cup in a way that's going to be bringing harmony for everybody around you when you get home. I do think this is good medicine in whichever way you want to explore it. It could be you decide to go out shopping with your friends, like whatever, like it's something that you enjoy. And yeah, I love that for me.
Yes, absolutely. And, we do need to step up and ask for what we need in our relationships and not be afraid. And if you are listening out there and you're bisexual, right, and you may be in a relationship with a man, and if you've never told them that you are, how do you recommend that people sort of bring that up and bring that to the forefront? Because there's plenty of women, I'm sure, out there that may even know about Skirt Club and are interested in joining or interested in attending an event, but they're afraid to tell their partners about it, right? So, how do we encourage women to sort of step into their power and to really, have that conversation?
Yeah, okay, so like, you can imagine 12 years in, I've had this conversation a few times with women who
Yes.
what do I tell? Do I tell him? What do I tell him? And at the start of Skirt Club in the first 5 years, the women were not telling their partners. They were convinced that he would reject them, that he would see this as cheating, or he would see this as unconventional and disgusting, as some have called it. Um, Today it is very different. Men are very much more encouraging about it. In fact, I'm seeing more men recommend Skirt Club to our members than anything else at the moment. So, which I think is a good thing overall. Of course, there may be some ulterior motives behind that, but overall, like the best outcome here is the partner knows, the partner is consenting, the partner is fully supportive and encouraging. This is what we want. Now, how do we get there? So, does he know anything about you yet and your sexual desires? Like, how communicative are you exactly? I find that usually there's been like some past sort of sexual experience where a porn movie was put on and it was like pure lesbian sex and she got off on it and he witnessed that, and then there was and so there's some seed planted already that this would be something she'd enjoy. um if not, make that suggestion. Okay, honey, let's have mommy and daddy night, or depends on your situation, but let's have date night, and I want to let's play a game. Like, you show me what porn turns you on, and I'll show you what turns me on. Or I'll show you my favorite toys to play with, and I'll tell you my favorite fantasy. Now, of course, the fantasy needs to be two women. And that's just a nice soft way of leaning him into it, because ultimately men do want to please women, and if you tell them how, which is the quickest shortcut to them actually being feeling like a real man about it. Like, tell them how. Oh, well, it's been a fantasy of mine since college, over 15 years ago. It's something I've been thinking about but never tried. I would love to. Um, Immediately, I'm sure he's like, well, how do we find this? Could we ask one of your friends? Will be his first suggestion. And you could say, no, it's too difficult with friends. I'd rather keep this separate from our personal lives with maybe a stranger. And then very easily, one of you is going to suggest a party, and suddenly one of you is going to have found it online, and boom. So this is how I suggest you come into it. Um, um, I would not walk right into it cold with, hey, I've heard about Skirt Club, I want to go. Yeah, you need a warm up. Think of it as foreplay. You really need to help him lean into it first, and help him realize it's not a threat. He's not being replaced. This is a sexual experience for her, or a discovery of something that she's yearned for all of her life. And most men are very supportive of that.
Yes, I find more and more that men are supportive of that. So it's a good time. If this is, you out there listening, that you want to introduce a woman to your relationship, or not necessarily to your relationship, but to the relationship with yourself, right? And to have that experience, that this is a good time, that men are much more open minded now than they were in the past. And I love the porn suggestion, because absolutely, that is a great way to introduce something new, right? And watching it together, and seeing how much you enjoy it, that will turn him on as well. And so it's a great place to start. And then talking about fantasies as well, like you mentioned. And really, if you don't know your partner's fantasies, what are you guys talking about, right? You should really know your partner's fantasies. Ask them their top three fantasies. You guys should know that about each other. And if one of your fantasies is to be with another woman, then maybe you should explore that. I mean, obviously, some people like to keep fantasies in fantasy land, and that is okay. But if you want to take that fantasy out of fantasy land and actually make it a real life experience, and you have been thinking about this for years and years and years. 15 years is a long time to want to have an experience and then not actually act on it. So Skirt Club is a very safe place to do that. And I love that so much. And I want to get into our role play. Ladies, whether you are just starting your menopause journey or well into it and have questions about hormone replacement therapy, you're not alone. Many women experience vaginal dryness, decreased sensitivity, and urinary incontinence, like leaking when you sneeze, laugh, or exercise. These symptoms can be frustrating and limiting, but they are also very treatable. I experienced this myself and decided to try Parlor Game's topical estrogen and progesterone creams. Within 1 month of consistent use, my incontinence completely resolved. Topical estrogen helps restore tissue health, improve sensitivity, and support bladder control, while topical progesterone supports hormonal balance. If you are ready to stop suffering in silence, check the show notes for the link to Silky Peach, the topical estrogen cream, and Vibrant Third, the topical progesterone cream. I feel relieved and confident again, and I know you can too. If you've ever wished sex could feel more connected, more intense, or honestly just more fun, you need to check out Shameless Care. They're a telemedicine company built entirely around sexual health, real doctors, real prescriptions, and products that actually work. Like Shameless Chemistry, their oxytocin plus tadalafil blend that deepens connection and boosts arousal. Or Shamelessly Aroused, a topical cream with the active ingredient found in men's ED medication, increasing blood flow exactly where it counts. Every order includes a short video introduction from your doctor, transparent pricing, and no subscriptions ever. Just real, sex-positive healthcare that delivers results. Because you're a Please Me listener, you can use coupon code PleaseMe for $15 off your order of any product on the Shameless Care website. Use the code PleaseMe, that's PLEASEME, at checkout to claim your $15 off. Again, that's shamelesscare.com, code PleaseMe. Because great sex shouldn't be complicated. It should be shameless. This episode is sponsored by Shameless Care. Action. Hey, baby.
Oh, hi. Hi, darling. Listen, I've got a friend coming over tonight. And we're going to try some things we never tried before. You're not particularly invited to this exploration, but if you're home, you're very welcome to hang out.
Okay, and what is this friend coming over to do? Are we making candles? Are we, drinking wine? What are we doing tonight? Or what are you doing tonight, I should say?
Okay. Well, actually, do you know that new sex store that opened up in town last week? So she went down there yesterday and she says she's picked one of every single toy
Oh, wow.
um, and bought them. They're in a suitcase. It's quite a big suitcase. She's bringing it over. We're gonna just like check them out, see what they can do. Um, what do you think?
Wow. A whole suitcase full of toys. I can't wait to play with them all. So what are we going what are we going to be doing?
Well, she and I, darling, are going to be figuring out some of these toys. I know that she's got this one particular dildo that's like a good 12 inches. And she's got this harness, so it works like a strap on. So I know that we want to try that one out. I suspect she'll be the one wearing it. Anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to try like a really big cock.
Wow, I don't know if I should feel emasculated right now or excited because I'm excited to watch you do that. Is that something that you would, be okay with me doing? Can I watch? I know you said her and you are going to try out all the toys, but can I at least watch? I want to see you with that strap on. I would love to watch that. That would be a huge turn on.
Oh, babe, I know, but the thing is, like, it's just kind of like our thing because, first of all, she has a partner, so she's not comfortable with you watching. And second,
Okay.
I just think I would just like to have some girlfriend because I don't know how I'm going to react either. And honestly, I want to be able to just like decide how I feel, and that'll be in the moment. Um, I love you very much. But when you're there in the room, it tends to be all about you just a little bit, or at least you want me to watch you and me to watch you. And that just distracts me. So I need to just kind of like hone in on my pussy and be able to recognize how she's responding to these experiences. Um, I'm happy to compromise. Um, what we could do, because I suspect there's no way you're not going to hear anything. We, how about this? Given that she's uncomfortable with you watching, we could blindfold you. You can still be in the room. I could tie you to a chair so that she feels comfortable that you're not going to get up and do something. Um, yeah, how about that? And I think it's probably best that you don't speak too much either, so I'll need to gag you as well.
Wow. Okay. But I can hear if I'm sitting in the room and I'm tied up and I'm gagged and I'm blindfolded, but my ears are not going to be covered. So I can hear what you guys are doing.
That's right. Yeah. So you'll have one sense working, which means it'll be a more powerful sensory experience, and it'll be all about sound.
Well, I am, beggars can't be choosers, and I definitely want to be in the room. So if she's comfortable with that scenario, then I would be okay with that. Of course, I'd love to see, but I'm happy to hear what's going on. And to be honest, I thought you were going to say no, and so I was going to ask if you could tell me all about it later on. I don't know if that's, I would love to know all about it. Are you willing to share that, or is that something that you also want to keep to yourself?
Well, I'll need to check with her, but I mean, of course, I'd love to tell you all about it. But look, but listen, this is mostly an experiment for me, right? I'm just figuring it out. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, I think will be really good fun. Um, and also I can find out where my limits are because, I want to try new things. I want to know what my body enjoys. And I don't know where the limits are on it. I'd like to push them a little bit. I want to find out where my edges are. And I feel safe doing that with her. She wants the same. Um, yeah. And look, yeah, you can listen in. I think that's a fair compromise.
It is a fair compromise, and I'm happy that you are allowing me to even be in the room with you guys. As long as it's okay with her, I accept the invitation, and I can't wait to hear what an amazing time you guys are going to have. And I can't say anything at all. I can't say anything.
No, because also it's distracting, so better you don't say a damn thing.
Okay, so I will be very quiet. And if you want, I can be the DJ and I can put some nice music on so that even if I moan or I, make any noise, hopefully you won't hear me say anything because I don't trust that I'm not going to say any words or well, I won't be able to say any words, but make some kind of noise. I can't imagine that I can actually hold that in, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, good luck.
All right. Well, let's see. When is she coming over?
Well, in about half an hour, but I have a little outfit for you to wear as well. It's a little small, but I think it'll fit. It's just this tiny little like leather pouch that you can wear over your crotch.
Okay. So I'm going to be wearing like a leather bikini bottom.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
all.
And that's it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it doesn't scare her. I am definitely open to wearing whatever you want me to wear, and I will be fine with the gag and the blindfold. And I am looking forward to this.
Wonderful. I'll get the handcuffs in a moment. And in fact, let's prepare you now before she gets over. I'm just gonna like tie you up so she knows that you are completely unable to respond in any way.
Here you go. And for all of those listening and not watching, I just put my arms out so that she can handcuff my wrists. And end scene.
And now I'm twiddling the key on my necklace.
Ah, nice, nice. That was really fun. And, a great compromise, when you're introducing something new like this into the bedroom, right? Because there has to be a lot of discussion and a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Compromise and negotiation. That's the word that I'm looking for, negotiation. And obviously, Genevieve is very skilled and kinky, which I love. But I think that the kink community really does this best because they really do break down communication in a very
Yeah,
specific way and, talk about all of the different details. And you need to talk about all of the different details because it could be one thing that could throw you off and could distract you, right? And you don't want to be distracted in this situation. So I love all of the things that you suggested, all of the kinky things that you suggested for him to be tied up, handcuffed, blindfolded, gagged, and wearing, and almost naked, right? And wearing a leather, bottom. And
yep, vulnerable.
so love it all. And you really are in control of that situation and really like expressing your dominant energy, which I think is a beautiful thing. And so thank you for doing that role play with me. That was really fun.
Yeah, that was great fun. Thanks. It's a great game. Love it.
Yes, and so I want to make sure that my listeners can find you. Where can we find you, Genevieve?
Best to come to our website, which is skirtclub.co.uk. We're a British company. And you can follow me on Instagram, either at Skirt Club or at my personal account, which is private, Genevieve Lejeune.
Okay, very good. And again, I will put all of that in the show notes. And I don't have the pop-ups on this site, but I will put all of that in my show notes so that you can contact Genevieve on either of those platforms, her Skirt Club platform or the Instagram. And I just want to let you know that you can find me as well on pleaseme.online. You can always reach out to me on the contacts page. It goes directly to my email, and I respond to all of my emails. And I want to invite you to go to my website and check out the freebie tab because I have a new special gift on there for my listeners. It's called the 30-day self pleasure and reconnection practices. And it is basically a 30-day journal that you can experience something new in terms of self pleasuring and reconnecting with your body on a daily basis. And you do that for 30 days. You take notes about the progress that you're making, and it is just a great way to reconnect with your body. And so I think it's a perfect time to talk about it since that is what we talked about your retreats and how it's really embodying your, being embodied and really enjoying and asking for and honing that pleasure that we all deserve.
Absolutely. And if you go to our website, skirtclub.co.uk/retreats, you'll find here all the destinations where we're hosting our retreats this year, starting in Austin and then over to Paris for a chateau
Ooh.
experience, Bali for a beautiful place in rice fields, and then ending in New York Catskills, upstate New York, as the fall turns. So it'll be very beautiful experiences. All of these venues are just stunning. And I'll be kicking off in the hills of Austin on May 14th, with our sex magic retreat there, and 4 beautiful priestesses who will be assisting me.
Okay, so check that out. 4 retreats, and all of them sound amazing. I was thinking about the Austin one because that was the one that I got information on, but I love the idea of going to Paris. Oh my gosh, that would be so wonderful. So absolutely check those retreats out. And with all of that being said, I want to thank you again for being on the show today, Genevieve. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time, everyone. Are you looking for a sexy date? Look no further than SDC.com. SDC.com is the premier ethically non-monogamous website that is worldwide. It also hosts a wealth of information on sexuality and sexual health, and I host a free live webinar monthly on the site. You can use code 37340 for a free trial membership on me. I want to personally invite you to join me on Patreon for ad-free listening, bonus episodes, and early releases. Already there is a lot of bonus content on there with many webinars that I've done in the past and a show that I've never released to the public before. My show is completely self-funded, and when you are able to support me in this way, I'm able to spread my message of body positivity, self-love, and women's empowerment, and empowerment in general around sexuality around the globe. And so with that being said, I appreciate everyone who has already joined Patreon. And if you've thought about joining, now's your nudge to do so.